The following training is brought to you by the Niagara Library System. We serve our member libraries in Niagara, Orleans, and Genesee counties. Visit your local library homepage and use your library card to get access to streaming videos, downloadable music, audiobooks, ebooks, and even more from the comfort of your own home. Thank you.
Hello. So it's time for a new video. Beyond time, but that's okay. Everybody's doing at any rate. Okay, so hi, welcome back. I am going to let you know right now, it has been raining on and off, on and off. So if we hear some strange stuff in the background, it's just decided to start raining again. So, all right. You probably can't hear that, but that's okay. So, again, like I mentioned, here we are, and I was watching some videos actually over the weekend, and videos on YouTube, and was introduced to a couple of new concepts. They're not really new concepts, but new words for things that I already knew. So one of the things was talked about was emotional contagion, and I actually found a study done on this, so that was pretty good, and which I'm going to talk about in brief here, and then what was called the horns and halos effect, which is very similar to the emotional contagions. Let's talk about this and see where we go with it, okay? So this was actually done, and you can see on the screen here, experimental evidence of massive scale emotional contagion through social networks. Now this is all, they kind of fancy language, but this is a little bit scary because basically the too long didn't read version is what you see on social media, both positive and negative, absolutely affects your emotional state, positively or negatively. Keep that in mind. Okay, so the study was done here by Adam Kramer, Jamie Gilroy, and Jeffrey Hancock, and as always, the links are in the description below. You can see them here on the page as well. And I went for the actual definition of emotional contagion, so let's start there, and then we'll go to the research, and then we'll talk about how we can use this and how it can affect us. Okay, so if we define emotional contagion, the iResearch.net website said it's the phenomenon that individuals tend to express and feel emotions that are similar to those of others. When someone tells you with a big smile that she passed an important test, you smile as well. If, on the other hand, your friend tells you his father passed away last week, you feel depressed or sad, not so much because of the recollection of your friend's father whom you don't know, but mainly because your friend is sad. We see this physically with mirroring behavior. So we talked in previous videos about nonverbal communication and how important that is. So these mirroring behaviors, when a person is in tune with another, they each one will actually mimic the actions in some way, shape, or form of the other. And so the big question came is whether this emotional contagion, we already know that it is passed along in person. There have been studies done on that, which we'll talk about. So it's passed along in nonverbal communication. Can this be done via our social networks? And the answer is yes. And I nonverbally kind of went yes, because that's striking and a little maybe a little frightening. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as we go here. So interestingly, emotional contagion can spread without the other person's awareness that they caught it. Yikes. That was in the study that I've cited here. So in this study cited above, Kramer, Gilroy, and Hancock found the following. And I've just summarized here with quotes from the study to try and piece things together. Is there actually a statistical significant difference? Yes. We show via massive experiment. So when it says N equals 689,003, those were the number of participants. Generally speaking, the larger the participant pool, the more accurate the results, as long as the statistics and the analysis have been done correctly. But when you can get almost 700,000 participants, That's a ton. That's amazing. So, with this experiment on Facebook, that emotional states can be transferred to others via emotional contagion, leading people to experience the same emotions without their awareness. We provide experimental evidence that emotional contagion occurs without direct interaction between people. Exposure to a friend expressing an emotion is sufficient, and in the complete absence of nonverbal cues. Yeah. Okay, so in part of the abstract, the authors talk about how emotional states can be transferred to others via emotional contagion, leading people to experience the same emotions without their awareness. Emotional contagion is well established in laboratory experience with people transferring positive and negative emotions to others. Data from large real-world social networks collected over a 20-year period suggests that longer-lasting moods like depression or happiness can be transferred through networks. This, in this 20 years that they're talking about, is actual networks of people, okay? So, it would be more in-person interactions over the past 20 years. That was what was studied. Although those results are controversial. They cite the studies, but they don't elaborate really how they're controversial. It's a little bit more correlative than causation. Correlation does not equal causation, so there's some controversy. In an experiment with people who use Facebook, though, we test, the authors test whether emotional contagion occurs outside of in-person interaction between individuals by reducing the amount of emotional contagion in the news feed. And the research demonstrated, statistically speaking, that number one, emotional contagion occurs via text-based, computer-mediated communication. Number two, contagion of psychological and physiological qualities has been suggested based on correlational data. Correlation is not causation, but it's a significant factor for social networks generally. And number three, people's emotional expressions on Facebook predict friends' emotional expressions even days later, although some shared experiences may in fact last several days. To date, however, there's no experimental evidence that emotions or moods are contagious in the absence of direct interaction between the experiencer and the target. That is, we have to, if I smile at you or you laugh at something that I say or I laugh at something here on a video, we have direct interaction. So they're not suggesting any kind of nefarious psychological hocus pocus, so to speak, okay? But it is definitely a possibility, okay? And what I'm going to do is cut this off here, and because the videos I think will end up going too long. If that is not a problem, please let me know. I try and keep them again short, but I'll go into the second part and release that video. So we'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Take care.